But first, our all-star panel. Joining me now, folks, Custodia Bank, their founder and CEO, Caitlin Long, along with Miss Teen Crypto, Randi Hipper, and Coin Stories podcast host and author, Natalie Brunell. Ladies, thanks for joining me. All right, so it feels like crypto is at a crossroads because, Natalie, it's lost the buzz. I don't feel the buzz like I used to feel. Maybe what's going on?
You don't? I feel the buzz.
You always feel the buzz.
There are so many innovations happening with Bitcoin. The Clarity Act is going to be passed in Washington, D.C., it looks like. You've got all of us here to advocate for why Bitcoin is the best savings technology. So I don't know. I see a lot of buzz.
Well, Randi, you go around. You've been I met you as a teenager, and you fell in love with Bitcoin, and you've made it your life's mission to tell everyone about it. But the excitement feels like it's faded a little bit. I feel like people's attentions are elsewhere.
You know, I think the dopamine hit of a meme coin going from zero to like a few $100 million market cap, those days are a little bit mundane right now, but I think the premise of freedom money and truth is still here. And for people to be climbing this crypto ladder in the sense of liquidity being relocated to more DeFi, money market funds, and tokenization, this is where we're finding the foundation of how institutions feel like crypto is going to be for them. And then retail and the institutions will come together and it'll blossom into something beautiful.
Caitlin, are we in the blossoming process right now?
We are in the infrastructure part of the industry, and frankly,
is this another euphemism for the boring part?
The boring part, exactly. It's the back end part. Most folks, when you send money on Venmo or Zelle, think that it gets to the destination immediately. But what actually happens behind the scenes is this Rube Goldberg-esque delay, and lots of credit creation between financial institutions before it gets settled. All of that technology is being replaced in the back end of the traditional financial system. That sounds boring, but the end user will find faster, better, cheaper payments and much more clarity.
It does feel like maybe a part of the problem, right? You think about the white paper that was written and published during the financial crisis as sort of a solution. So we've had some financial crises, or at least some scares recently. Yep. And Bitcoin was supposed to go up. It was supposed to be the place to be. Instead, it went lower, gold went higher, and I feel like maybe it lost some fans there.
It did, but part of that is because it trades 24/7, and a lot of these geopolitical events happen on the weekend when Bitcoin is the only thing trading. And so it's broken through technical levels on the weekend because it's the first and most liquid asset that people can sell in those events.
So since 2011, there have been 4 Bitcoin winters, Natalie, 4 of them. And these ain't your regular winters. These are like the winter that we had last year in New York. These are rough winters, right? They last 13 months on average, and then they're followed by a spring that averages 17 months before we get to the sizzling part again. So what are you telling people as we're still coming out of this winter and thawing out?
Well, this bear market has not been as deep or as long, which means that the volatility is diminishing in this asset as we see more institutional adoption, as we see more innovations that dampen the volatility as well, like digital credit. So I think that we're just slowly, inching our way towards mass adoption. But of course, as you highlighted, gold has certainly outperformed. But let's look at time frames, right? Gold might be up against Bitcoin over the last year or so, but if you zoom out to 4 or 5 years, Bitcoin's looking pretty nice.
Yeah, I mean, if you took I guess like by now 20-year chart, Bitcoin is either number one, and it's like number one, last, number one, last. Like, so, and now we just saw there's one indicator that just was triggered here, Randi, that maybe the next run is in place already right now, and at least takes us to 90,000.
Yeah, I think that if you look at the Bitcoin chart, I mean, it hit the all-time high before this whole war broke out. And then now that the war broke out, Bitcoin was so steady, almost the same price for a few months in this year. So I would say it's probably your safe haven versus a lot of traditional banking stocks, a lot of volatility within the tech of chip making and who's going where with their technology. Bitcoin has remained steady. And I think that this is something that I respect, that people would say, oh, Bitcoin's going to zero or down to 20K immediately if there's a war. That was considered a black swan event. That never happened. So I think Bitcoin stability shines brighter than anything else.
One thing also shining bright is that this administration is very friendly to crypto. Crypto has done very well under this administration. And you think that the new Fed chair, Kevin Warsh, should be very friendly as well. What can he do to help?
Well, his past remarks have been favorable to Bitcoin in particular, but to crypto generally. The Fed has historically been very anti-crypto. That's part of the reason why the Genius Act and Clarity Act gave less regulatory power to the Fed and to more to the other agencies.
Right.
And the interesting question is, how much power is Kevin Warsh going to have once he becomes chair? He will have the power of the chair to set the agenda.
Sure.
But there are 3 Democrats, 3 Republicans, and then Jay Powell, who clearly is not a Trump supporter, on the Fed's Board of Governors, so he's walking into a 3-4 board against him.
Yeah, and it's been politicized without a doubt, and I hope that everyone there recognizes that if they keep this political angle, it loses all credibility. It's already lost some with many people. Let's pick up on that, though, because you go a little deeper with this. You say that Bitcoin is necessary to save capitalism.
I think absolutely. It is a tool to restore capitalism. And I see videos constantly online right now, especially from young people who are so frustrated with our capitalist system, that it has failed them, that maybe we should replace it with something else. And even my parents fled communism in Eastern Europe, and now they're worried that communism is starting to encroach here because we're seeing some of these socialist policies be proposed by local politicians, national politicians. And I actually think that the MAGA movement and the people that are voting for the AOCs, they're 2 sides of the same coin. They're people frustrated with the fiat system. And I would say over the last 50 years, did we really have capitalism if we have a monetary central planning where you have the price of money, the most important price of the market, set by a committee that we don't elect? I think that is actually central planning with capitalist branding, and that's what people are so frustrated about, but they can't really name it. And so Bitcoin introduces a system of consequences again. It's a meritocracy. No one is in control. No one's close to the money printer. There can't be a Cantillon effect. And I think it will allow for the American dream to really, broadly reach society again.
And Randi, you say the speed and efficiency are just are part. The only way we can remain the preeminent nation in the world is to incorporate Bitcoin and crypto because of that speed and efficiency.
Absolutely. You're looking at the younger generation. We seek truth and honesty, which is what the blockchain gives you with Bitcoin. It's an open book, essentially. And then you have Gen Alpha, Gen Z, growing up on an internet-based economy. Our social media brings down these barriers of what's happening in other nations. Now we actually get to understand people in other cultures. Why doesn't our money do that too? So if we're going to run on an instant gratification internet economy, we need money to match that speed, efficiency, and safety above all. And if you look at the technology behind blockchain and its security, it's far more superior than our traditional banking system.
I only have 30 seconds, but I got to ask you about stablecoin. Stablecoin hit 7.2 trillion in February. People don't understand what's happening with the stablecoin. This is huge.
It is, because the velocity is so fast compared to traditional banking, which operates on analog time. And stablecoins and tokenized bank deposits are coming to the back end of the traditional banking system.
You're playing a role in that.
We are. We're partnered with Vantage Bank in Texas, the Hazel Network, to issue both tokenized bank deposits and stablecoins, which will allow you to take your dollars into your own physical possession. Not possible in the banking system today.
Right.
That's been endorsed by the Texas Bankers Association, and it's coming in a big way. And if we do it well, most folks won't even realize there's been a big upgrade in technology behind the scenes.
Love it, love it, love it. Ladies, please don't go anywhere. Okay, we're going to come back and talk about some more of this stuff a little later in the show.